The 2025 NFL Draft is officially in the books, but of course, so much more content to come. So much content has already been uploaded on this channel, so make sure you're checking it out. Make sure you're subscribed, talking about draft steals, shocking picks, best picks, and now grading every team in the 2025 NFL Draft. It will be alphabetical by team abbreviation, but because ESPN knows I'm a Giants fan, we're going to end up starting there. And of course, with grading every team and every player, we don't know how these players are going to develop, obviously. So things could end up looking a lot different in a year. And from what it looks like in a year, it's going to look a lot different from that in 2 years or 3 years. Because sometimes there are some rookies that play really well, and then they don't do a whole lot else for the rest of their career. Sometimes there are players that don't really do anything for their rookie year or their second year or their third year and then break out. And you can kind of see that across the course of history. And in the draft, especially this draft, where it's kind of lacking the top end talent for the most part, a lot of these guys will end up making an impact on special teams, which is valuable to a team's success. We'll talk about some of those guys and where I see a lot of these guys playing. We'll kick things off with the Giants, and they would start at number 3 overall, sticking and picking and taking the best possible player they could have drafted. According to ESPN, he was the number 1 overall player in the class. Of course, number 1 at his position. To me, he was probably the number 2 overall player in the class, behind Travis Hunter, who I thought, of course, was the best, and Ashton Jeanty in that 3rd spot. But I thought those were the 3 blue chip players. The Giants add really an incredible player with decent size off the edge, incredible quickness, incredible closing speed, and even after just only 1 year as a full-time edge rusher, he's already fairly polished, and that athleticism is just unbelievable. He's so gifted as a player, and I think if the Giants are holding on to Kayvon Thibodeaux, they picked up his 5th-year option, I think the Giants can get really creative with how they use Abdul Carter, because he's not just an edge rusher. He's played off-ball for really the majority of his career prior to this season, and I think he's going to be someone that makes a really big impact, not only as an edge rusher, but someone that can play off the ball a little bit and also line up in the A gap, line up in the B gap, and blitz with Thibodeaux on the field, with Brian Burns on the field, and make a big time impact. We know Dexter Lawrence is going to be a space eater and also an incredible pass rusher for his size. And they add another one in round 3 at the top of this round with Darius Alexander. He's an older prospect, but he's really good in my opinion. 6'4", 305, but can actually get after the passer. He actually has some legitimate juice. At the Senior Bowl, he even had reps off the edge and was still winning. And for someone of his size, that's just really unbelievable. ESPN had him as the 29th overall player. I didn't view him quite that high, but I did think it was a phenomenal pick at the top of the 3rd round. I think he's a really, really good player. But in between that, they traded up. It was a compensatory 3rd round pick, their 2nd round pick, and a 3rd round pick next year to move up to 25 and select Jackson Dart. This was a tough one for me because I see what people see in him, right? He does have some splash plays. He does have decent size overall. He is a good athlete with a good arm. He's got a lot of good about him, and that's kind of what we could say about Bo Nix last year. I don't love or hate the comp, but it is interesting because you can say some similar things, and Bo Nix ended up fitting it right into Denver. And I really wasn't a huge Bo Nix guy, and he had such an incredible rookie year. And I think Jackson Dart is in a situation where he's not going to have to play right away. I do worry about the protection. I do worry about the weapons on offense. But sit him for a full year, he's going to need it. Going from the Ole Miss offense to the Giants offense, it's going to be a huge change. Because, I mean, you can even see there's a video of him going over his snap count with John Gruden. It's just clapping, and they've got a dummy with a double clap. It's like, you're going to need a cadence in the NFL, and he's going to be asked to do that. That's not the huge transition, but I think it shows that what he was doing at Ole Miss is so different than what he's going to be doing in the NFL. So it's tough to say this guy is absolutely going to work out because we haven't seen him do it. It's a lot of projection. There is something there. I am hoping he ends up being great, but I didn't think he was near the 25th best player in the draft, but of course plays the most valuable position of quarterback. Teams are always going to covet that position. Cam Skattebo in the 4th. It is Skattebo, if you were not aware. think he's a really good player, can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's tough as nails. He obviously has good size at 220 pounds. He's an absolute bruiser. This is a guy that just does not go down to the ground easily. He's not Ashton Genty, but he has the Ashton Genty ability to just bounce off and pinball off any tackler. He's a really incredible player, and at the top of the 4th round, I absolutely love the selection. I didn't think he was one of the best, 3 or 4 backs in the class, but I think at the top of the 4th round, this is a really good player to add to the Giants' running back room. What does this mean for Devin Singletary, I was being asked. Who cares? I mean, Devin Singletary is not all that good. He's like, okay, all right. But I like a running back room that features Tyrone Tracy and Cam Skattebo. 2 backs that can catch the football. Tracy with a little bit more juice. Skattebo with a little bit more power. I think this is going to be a pretty good room. And then they upgrade on the offensive line. Right tackle Marcus Bowe, I thought was a really, really good player. Drops due to injury. He's going to end up moving inside to guard. He's got like 32-inch arms, or maybe even a little bit shy of that. But I think he's a really, really good player, and I was shocked he was available prior to this pick, and I would have loved him in the 4th round. I would have been cool with him in the 3rd round. I really would have been. He goes at like number 150 or so, and maybe even a little bit lower than that. Marcus Bowe, I think, is a really good player. Great footwork. He is so agile, so quick out in space. I think that's going to really work well. Just he drops because of injury. Thomas Fidone in the 7th. Good size, tested well. I think he's not a bad option in the 7th round. And then Corey Black, brother of future Longhorn legend Kobe Black. Fun fact, he tested well. He's got decent enough size, but you're looking at the bottom here. You're looking at guys that are probably going to make an impact on special teams, maybe make the roster. We can't necessarily guarantee that, but I thought the Giants absolutely crushed this draft for the most part. I'm going to throw up an A. I think the Giants really absolutely killed it. The trade up for Dart, I didn't absolutely love. I hope it works out. If you give him a year to develop, he does have some decent physical tools that suggest that, okay, if you give him the time, he can turn into something. But this draft is about as good as it possibly can get. Arizona Cardinals, they had a decent draft. They had obvious needs in the trenches, and they certainly addressed those. Walter Nolan at 16. Will Johnson, just best player available in the middle of round 2. He drops because of injury, and there are some athletic questions about him, and there were some scheme fit questions. He's going to be better in a zone-heavy scheme, but really good player overall, in my opinion. Jordan Burch in the 3rd. I'm a big Jordan Burch fan. And it's not just about the player he is, but it's about the player he could be. He's got great size. I mean, he was listed at like 295 pounds at Oregon, and it's kind of like one of these hybrid inside-outside type guys. If he's playing closer to 280, I think he is going to be a primary edge. But for a lot of the same reasons that you liked Darius Robinson a year ago, you like Jordan Burch now. And of course, with Robinson's injury history now, it doesn't, it's not a bad idea to take another guy in a similar mold. And Burch is a really, really good athlete. A ton of juice. They even use him on offense sometimes. Super fun. Cody Simon in the 4th. Denzel Burke with the back-to-back Ohio State players. And Burke, if he declared a year ago, could have gone a lot higher than this, but ends up sliding. Hayden Connor, big-bodied offensive guard from Texas, and they're going to team him back up with his right tackle from a year ago in, of course, Christian Jones, and then another former Texas player in Keaton Crawford, who I think is a really good special teams option. He was a monster gunner at Texas and tested really well. He's a really good athlete. I think this was a pretty good class overall. I like the players they got. I mean, Will Johnson at his peak is one of the best players in this class. Top 15 guy, I think, for sure. Walter Nolan has the potential to be one of the best players out of this class, period. He's got so much electricity as a pass rusher. He's good enough against the run. He's got really good size for the most part. But he has the thing that makes interior defensive linemen valuable. He is explosive, and he can get after the QB. He can, just instantly ruin plays, and that's extremely valuable. So they got 2 really good players here with their first couple of picks. I see the potential with Jordan Birch. I think Cody Simon does have the potential to develop into being a starter. And I think Burke as a rotational player, Connor as depth, Keaton Crawford as a special teamer. I really like the draft. And again, I'm going to give the Cardinals an A. I'm going to give the Atlanta Falcons a B. This is an interesting draft class. I like Jalen Walker. I do think there's an argument to be made that he was a top 5 player in the class. But there's also an argument that says, all right, the Harold Landry comp, what? All right, ignoring that, I'm probably gonna tear into some of these. That one's insane. But Jalen Walker, he is a really good athlete. He's a really, really good athlete that can play off the ball a little bit. He's not great there. He's not that instinctive. He's really just see ball, get ball type of a player. Better as a chase defender, like there's no question at linebacker. However, that's really not what he's going to end up doing. I think he can QB spy. He's a super athlete. That works out. He can be a spot dropper. He's just not great in coverage overall. What his role is going to end up being is as a primary edge, you would think, with the versatility to maybe do some other things. I really like Jalen Walker. He's still developing as a pass rusher. He doesn't exactly have NFL edge size. So you do question, okay, is there a world where he's not good enough to play off ball and he's not good enough to play on the ball? What do you do with Jalen Walker? There's tweener risk here for sure, but by all reports, great team leader, great work ethic, absolute alpha, culture changer, and he's an absurd level athlete. So I do like the potential a lot with Jalen Walker. I'm not trying to be too negative because I really think he's a monster player. It's just there's a world where why he was successful at Georgia is going to be why he's not successful in Atlanta. You can't just be more athletic and stronger than guys at the NFL and win typically, because the quality of player you're going up against is so much greater than what you're facing, even in the SEC. Even in the SEC. But I think he's got the potential to be a really, really good player. And I love James Pierce. What I don't like about this pick is they traded up a ton to get him. Second round pick, fine. But your first round pick next year? Oh my God. That is a lot. But I really, really like James Pierce. He falls maybe because of some character questions. There's some personality things that maybe teams didn't absolutely love from what was reported. I cannot corroborate that. Everything I heard from Tennessee was that they love the guy. So I don't know what to make of that, but there's a reason he fell, and you could say, okay, he's a little bit lanky, a little bit light. Is he going to be strong enough against the run? And then you watch him and he is good against the run. So I don't really know if he's not going to be a 3-down player in the NFL, and I know he can get after the quarterback. He's a great athlete with an excellent first step. I thought this guy was in play to go number 1 overall this time last year. I really like James Pierce Jr., and he was good in 2024. So I think the player is really good, and as they say, bird in the hand is worth more than 2 in the bush. So if you really like James Pierce Jr., and it takes a first-round pick to go move up for him, trade away your first next year, I guess. But it's a lot to move up. And a lot of times these trade-ups just don't work out. But James Pierce Jr., I really like the player. And the Falcons really needed to upgrade their pass rush. They've done that here. Because James Pierce Jr. right away is a better pass rusher than Jalen Walker, in my opinion. I also really like Xavier Watts here at the back end of the 3rd round. He is super instinctive. Not a great athlete, but super instinctive. And that plays at safety. It really, really does. And for a guy that, always knows where to be, always can find the football and make plays, he's not Kyle Hamilton, but for a lot of the same reasons you liked Kyle Hamilton despite having top tier or not having top tier athleticism, you like Xavier Watts. He is smaller. He's not even quite the athlete that Kyle Hamilton is, in my opinion. But he's really instinctive. I think he's got starter potential here at the back end of the 3rd round. I like the pick. Billy Bowman Jr. is also super fun. I think he's got starter potential somewhere. Like, best case scenario, you get a Budda Baker type. Like, that's absolute best case scenario. But he is shot out of a cannon in run defense. He is a torpedo. He's a heat-seeking missile and can also find the football. He's an interception machine at times. He finds a way to find the football. He's going to be an impact player on special teams, if nothing else. And then Jack Nelson, I really didn't know a ton about here in the 7th round. But overall, I like a lot of the players they got. B maybe seems a bit harsh. Maybe I could boost this up to a B+. I like the haul that they got. They only had 5 picks, but they hit on, I think, a lot of these. And again, I don't know enough about Jack Nelson. I remember him getting hype early, but I don't know enough about him. I didn't get to watch him this season. I just thought they traded up so much. Like, giving up that first-round pick next year is just a ton. And that's what brings down the grade for me a little bit. But I like the players they got. They did get better, no question. B is still good. I'm going to give the Ravens an A-. Their first couple of picks, like the Cardinals, I think, are great. Malachi Starks was one of the best players in the draft for me. He was a top 10 player for me. I love Malachi Starks. Same things you can talk about with Jalen Walker, with the team leadership. He's a great communicator at the back end of the secondary. He's so versatile, has been asked to do so many different things for Georgia, and really succeeded at a lot of them. He is an awesome player. His 2023 was better than 2024, but he was just asked to do so many different things. It's tough to kind of get into a familiar role and make every single play, but the ball skills are incredible. He's made some incredible plays over his career at Georgia, and the Ravens just did such a great job of doing what they always do, which is sticking and picking when a monster player falls to them. If they don't, they'll just trade back and get more value. The Ravens are really an incredible organization. Eric DaCosta does a great job. I think Ozzie Newsome before him did a great job. I know they have some good people there in the analytics department as well. So it's just an all-around great organization that not only drafts well, but also develops well. Credit to the coaching staff. And then Mike Green here in the 2nd round. In terms of the football player, it's incredible value. Incredible value. He's got a number of dangerous allegations. I think 2, one dating back to high school, that are a little bit scary. So you wonder about Mike Green, the person, but the player is really, really good. And the Ravens needed to get younger and better off the edge. Mike Green absolutely helps you do that. Emory Jones. Preseason, I thought Emory Jones was going to end up going really high because his 2023 tape is really good. I mean, there are flashes of an elite level player in there. He has clear NFL size and fairly good movement abilities. In 2024 was just not as good. He didn't take the step up that you're anticipating. That's kind of what happens with early year mock drafts and the way too early mock drafts is you see guys with potential, and when you mock them early, you say, okay, NFL body, NFL athleticism, if they can continue to build on a pretty good season and get better the next season, they are going to go high. It just didn't end up happening for Emory Jones, but he's got a chance to move inside the guard, but I also think he's got a chance to stay at tackle. Is he going to displace Roger Rosengarten at right tackle? I would doubt it. Is he athletic enough to move over to left tackle? I don't know. I think he probably ultimately finds the field at guard unless there's a Ronnie Stanley injury, and obviously that could change things. Teddy Buchanan is a super athlete, tested really, really well, and I think is also an awesome scheme fit for this Ravens team, so it's not really shocking to see him go early at all. Probably a top 10 linebacker in this class. Carson Vincent in the 5th. This is a fun player. Elite size, good athleticism. This is just another one like Emory Jones where you've got to be patient. You've got to have the patience to develop him and not throw him into the fire in a year or two. Bilal Kone, Tyler Loop with everything going on with Justin Tucker. The Justin Tucker era is over in Baltimore, is what it seems. But Tyler Loop, from what I looked at, has a big-time leg. Was even hitting from 70, apparently, in practice. So this guy could end up being a really, really good player for the Ravens. And we've known them, except for last season, they've been automatic. Justin Tucker won them games for a while. See if Tyler Loop can do the same thing. Brought in LeJontay Wester. Aeneas Peoples is a fun one as well, because Peoples is someone that is super, super small. He's undersized, 6'1", 282, but he is extremely athletic, and he's one of these like interior disruptors who can just get into the backfield instantly. He's not going to be a 3-down player, but in sub packages, he can be a real problem for opposing offensive lines because he's just super fast off the ball. Picked up Robert Longerbeam. I remember him testing quite well at the combine, but didn't get to watch him. And then Garrett Dellinger here in the 7th round at the very end. More depth on the offensive line. A lot of these guys are going to be fighting to make the team. They had a lot of picks, and it was already a really, really talented team that also didn't have a lot of free agents, if I remember. So the Ravens here, I wonder how many in this draft class will end up making the team. But they've got a lot of camp bodies, if nothing else. And I think an A- is a fair grade for a team that really crushed the draft. I'm going to give the Bills a B. I think it was a good draft, headlined, of course, by Maxwell Hairston in the 1st round, a player that I think is really, really good. When healthy, he is a monster. And even when he's not healthy, he had a good season this past season at Kentucky. He's a little light, but you worry about that less at corner because he's a willing tackler when he's not dealing with a bum shoulder. He's got incredible speed, but he's really good in man coverage as well. The speed is a reason why, but it's not the only reason why. He's technically quite good. And the Bills needed to upgrade at corner. I know they don't have Kaiir Elam anymore. He was a huge swing and a miss, but they needed to not have him on the field anymore, and they needed to upgrade. I think Maxwell Harrison is that. TJ Sanders, kind of at the top of the 2nd round here. He's a good run defender, former 5-star recruit at South Carolina, flashes some athleticism, obviously has some pretty good size in that Walter Nolan type build. So this is someone that does have pretty good potential and could end up being quite a good player for a Bills team that, again, needed to upgrade their interior defensive line. They also needed to upgrade edge, and they've just kind of gone down in a row of just upgrading all these positions that they needed to. Landon Jackson I had at times mocked to the Bills at the end of the 1st round. Ends up going here a little bit later, but he's got very good size, very good athleticism, and a build that historically the Bills favor. So it was kind of easy to draw the connection there, and I'm not shocked that Landon Jackson ended up in Buffalo. He is a solid player that is still working on refining his pass rush ability. Sometimes he looks kind of like a bull in a china shop, and I don't know if he's just going to be able to long arm and beat offensive tackles in the NFL, but he's working. I think he's got an incredible work ethic from what you hear. He got better and better and better every year as a guy that wasn't a super hyped up recruit from what I remember, not like his brother, Longhorn legend of the future, Lance Jackson, but Landon Jackson was a good player. I mean, decent value. We'll see if he can develop, because we've seen a lot of similar type of guys to Landon Jackson, guys like Peyton Turner, guys like Logan Hall. Not that these guys are identical, right? But the bigger bodied, long arms, heavier guys that just never really develop as a pass rusher. We'll see what his value ends up being. Deon Walker, I didn't like here. And he was a guy preseason I thought would end up going quite high because he was super productive. He has insane size. And you'd think at 330 pounds, he'd be absolutely stout against the run. He's not. In my experience watching him, his pad level gets insanely high. And when football, especially in the trenches in the interior of the defensive line, is a leverage game, you got to be able to get low, and it just doesn't seem like he can at 6'7". So he's not really a power player, despite the weight. He's more of a finesse guy, and he's not really a great run defender. So I wonder what you're going to end up seeing from Deon Walker. I wasn't shocked to see him go this early, but I thought there were better interior defensive linemen on the board. Jordan Hancock, Jackson Hawes. Jackson Hawes, real good blocker. I think he's going to be a good fit here with this Bills team. That's what they needed if they were going to take a tight end. They obviously have the pass catchers already. Jordan Hancock in there. Dorian Strong, I think I actually liked quite a bit at this spot. And then Chase Lunt maybe was their best pick of day 3. He's a really big, really athletic offensive tackle, and he is someone that I think can develop into being a strong option. Now, of course, he's got to be able to develop. He might end up sliding inside, but he's a really, really good mover, and he's a fun player to watch. Saw a few games, nothing crazy, but he's a fun player to watch, and I think could be someone that ends up developing. Yeah, I think he's got starter potential. And they finished out with Caden Prather, big receiver from Maryland, to compete to earn a roster spot. And yeah, this is a 50-50 deep ball type of guy, and we'll see if that's enough to make the team. But I think a B is a solid grade for a solid class. And I'm going to give the Panthers a B as well, because I like what they did. Teteroa McMillan, big-bodied ex-receiver that can also move into the slot and make plays there. He's a really good player, and people were kind of down on him as the draft process went on. I think you go back to the film, and he's got the size. He's got the ability after the catch as well. But he's good with the ball in the air. He's got a big catch radius. He can win 50-50 balls. He can make you miss after the catch. He just does so many different things well, and he's got route polish at that size. So at 6'4", I don't know if he's going to quite play to 220. I think he was like closer to 210 at Arizona. I think this guy's got a real chance to be a difference maker and is a great connection with Bryce Young. They needed a more reliable option, and I think that's what Teteroa McMillan is, and you can move him around the formation. So I already like his addition. I know they needed to upgrade their absolutely awful defense, but I don't mind the Panthers admitting that they're a year away, at least, and saying that, hey, we're going to try to win the NFC South, but that defense is more than a first-round pick away from being good. We'll take the best player available. We'll build around our young quarterback. I really don't mind that pick. And then they went back-to-back defense in rounds 2 and 3 with Nick Scorton, who was the Big Ten sack leader in 2023, playing probably at like 265, 270 pounds, goes to A&M, adds some bad weight. And I think they asked him to do that. I think they asked him to bulk up to like 285, where he was listed at A&M. And he didn't have the same juice. He didn't have, and he wasn't even asked to really rush the passer the same way. I mean, A&M was just not really effectively using their athletic edge rushers and letting those guys go to work. They were just setting the edge. They were defending zone read. They were not playing from the edge with a chance to get after the quarterback. Slide inside, play the 4-eye, play heads up over the tackle. It was just not conducive to major production as a pass rusher. But then Scorton shows up the combine, sub 260, doesn't end up testing, I don't think. But if he's going to play at that weight and get a little bit juice back, maybe a little bit of juice back, maybe even a little bit more, I think you could find a pretty good pass rusher here, and he's good against the run. So I'm excited to see what Nick Scorton can develop into. And then you have a very interesting one here in the third in Princely Umanmielen. He's a good player. He has more juice than he showed at the combine. He didn't run badly, but like, 4.7 or whatever it was is not super impressive at, 244 pounds as he's listed. But on the field, it does show up. He is explosive. He is a good pass rusher. Sometimes he takes plays off. He's not amazing against the run, but he's flashed against it. It's just, you're looking for him to be a more complete player and more consistent on a down-to-down basis, but I think he's got good potential as a pass rusher, and the Panthers really needed to add more. I do think their secondary is pretty awful, and it's not like it got a lot better in this class. They took just one defensive back in Lathan Ransom, who I think is a good player, but I'm not sure that he is a tremendous fit in this defense. He's going to be your prototypical strong safety, but I think they really struggled to defend the pass. So, I mean, we'll see. Ransom's a good player, not a great player in coverage, but overall, good size, good athlete. I think I could see him developing into being a starter. And then Trevor Etienne a little bit before that. Etienne was somebody I wasn't that excited to watch. I know what Trevor Etienne is. I've seen enough Georgia games. I've seen him play at Florida. He's fine. He can have bigger games, but really, he's a downhill runner that isn't the biggest. I'm not going to be that impressed. And then I was impressed. I go, okay, he's got some vision. He's got some power. He's got a little bit of make you miss to him as well. I was surprised when watching Trevor Etienne. He was a lot better than I thought he would be going in. And For the Panthers that unfortunately are dealing with another Jonathan Brooks ACL injury. They drafted him, of course, tore it at TCU, or versus TCU. It was a brutal injury. But I still think Jonathan Brooks can be good. I really, really like the guy. And another ACL tear does not bode well. I don't mind the Panthers getting another running back in the mix. Of course, you lose Miles Sanders, pick up Rico Dowdle, a little Dallas, Carolina running back swap. But in the stacked running back class, it was not shocking to see them add another running back to the room, and one that I thought was surprisingly good. Cam Jackson was a player I wanted for the Giants. 6'6", 330, that can move a little bit. Two-gapper that can really, of course, control an offensive lineman and then shoot in and make a play. And he showed shocking power, had big games for the Gators, like really, really flashed. And in the 5th round, I think it's a great pickup for Carolina. Mitchell Evans, I also liked in the 5th round. Reliable. In a strong tight end class, Mitchell Evans is a good player. And I like the Panthers' tight end room already with, of course, Jatavion Sanders, Tommy Tremble, but Evans is a good third option that can compete to be a starter there and at least play in 12 personnel. Obviously, you'll see teams run jumbo from time to time. Maybe that's something Dave Canales wants to do a little bit more in Carolina, in North Carolina, in Charlotte. But I like Mitchell Evans. I think he's a solid add to this room, as is Jimmy Horn. A little bit small, but good athlete. Tough guy. And I think he's going to end up being someone that ends up making this team. The Panthers still are lacking playmakers. I like their room a little bit more, of course, with Tetairoa McMillan. And we'll see if Xavier Legette can continue to develop. And Jalen Coker might actually be their best receiver, based on what I saw last year. But I think the Panthers did get better. I think a B is fair. They had a nice draft. I'm going to give the Bears a B as well. Again, I thought this was a good class. I'm going to summarize this very quickly, though. I thought they really crushed the first few picks because they had a lot of top picks. You're going to do that. And it seems like they almost completely punted down the board. I mean, I do this as a job, not to the level of a true, professional who gets, paid to do, write-ups on 350 players like a Dane Brugler or a Daniel Jeremiah in that same conversation. But I'm pretty familiar, and I watch a lot of players. I had never in my life heard of Ruben Hippolyte II. He did apparently test really, really well, low 4.4s. But I watched Maryland, and I don't remember him flashing because I really like Jordan Phillips at Maryland. I don't remember being, oh, who's this guy? I don't even know his number. But usually it'd be, you watch someone, you go, who's 50? Who's number 11? And then you look him up, and then, okay, this might be a guy. I don't remember ever being blown away by Ruben Hippolyte. I'd never heard of him. Za Frazier has potential. He's got huge size. You're hoping for Tariq Woolen. You might not be getting this. I think it's another former wide receiver with incredible size and athleticism, still learning corner. And then Luke Newman was not somebody I knew. Transfer from Holy Cross. Picked up here, unranked by ESPN. Another guy I didn't know, but that's not that weird at this point. But in the 4th round, I mean, not knowing someone is shocking. And then Kyle Monungai here in the 7th. He's a solid player. At this point, I don't mind it. Sturdy, stocky, and a powerful runner. It's exactly what this says. Did I say that subconsciously? Maybe. But he is. I mean, he's strong. And I think he's got a chance to make the roster. Was this the big running back you thought that the Bears would add? No. I guess you're really banking on DeAndre Swift being a good player. And Ben Johnson should have some familiarity with him. And I love Roschon Johnson, of course. But the top of this draft I thought was great. Colston Loveland was a top 10 player in the class. Completely agree. And even though he's not really a true tight end, he's going to end up playing a lot in 12 personnel. Cole Kmet's the true inline guy there, but I think they can really use him in the slot. He can just dominate up the seam. He did it all the time at Michigan. Just didn't really have a quarterback to get him the football, unfortunately. Davis Warren and Alex Orji were not it. But then they took what I thought was going to be their big-time slot option and they grab Luther Burden in the second. And I think the value was just too good to pass up on. I thought Luther Burden was a top 20 player in the class. He's got decent enough size. I don't think he's slot limited. I think he can play the Z. He's so amazing with the football in his hands. And from the slot, on slot phase, he's able to absolutely crush because he's got electric speed down the field, good hands, good ability to track and adjust to the football. But he's so good with the ball in his hands that I think you just can get him design looks. And you're not going to want to take this guy off the field very often. The Bears have so many playmakers. I absolutely love it. Luther Burden reported diva. But, I mean, you kind of love that at wide receiver a little bit. He's a really good player, man. I think he's going to play an impact, but you wonder, too many cooks in the kitchen, too many mouths to feed? One of those is surely an expression that works. Ozzy Trapilo, another guy I liked. Huge offensive tackle with athleticism. I thought was one of the best tackles after the first round type of guys, because it was clear that you were going to see Will Campbell, Armand Membu, Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons, and probably Josh Connerly, with, I guess we'll call Donovan Jackson a tackle as well. Thought all those guys were going to end up being first-round picks, or really close to it. And then there was a tier down of, okay, these guys are likely going to be going in round 2 or beyond that. I thought Ozzy Trapilo was at the top of the list, and he's got a chance to end up earning a starting job at left tackle over Braxton Jones. Not right away, maybe, but eventually. This is your replacement to Braxton Jones of the future. He's got a chance to be a starter, and I really like it here at the end of the second round. Jamar Turner, another guy that I think is a really solid player. He's got great ability to get after the quarterback. He's a good enough run defender, no question, but it's more of like a Walter Nolan type run defender. He's not going to be a Jordan Phillips or a CJ West where they're just standing you up, holding your ground and making a play. He's got ability to win instantly. He could end up being a nice player, a good rotational interior defensive lineman, if nothing else. So the first 4 picks, maybe I'm being slightly harsh with a B grade, but a B grade is good. That's a passing grade easily. I just thought, man, Ruben Hippolyte was a weird pick. A lot of these guys just might not even make the team down the board here. And some of them, I don't even know what their role is going to be. Like Za Frazier, he just might end up being not good despite being a great athlete. He's very raw. Manungai might not make the team. I don't know enough about Luke Newman to give you any type of analysis there, but depth on the O-line. Their first 4 picks, though, were quite good. B might be slightly rough. I might upgrade to a B+. I thought it was a really good draft. It's just that day 3 was weird. I like the shot on Za Frazier, but it was, I mean, I just can't get off of Ruben Hippolyte here. Like, who is this? I know he's a great athlete. I get that. He ran like 4.42 at his pro day, but are we just doing draft the best 40 time thing? I don't know. Gonna give the Bengals a B-. It's another draft I think was pretty good, and I really like Shamar Stewart. I think he was a top 10 player in the class. Not everyone's gonna agree with me there because, hey, if he's a good pass rusher, why doesn't he have production? Why doesn't he rush the passer well if he's a good pass rusher? Well, he wasn't really asked to do that. So it's tough to say, why didn't you abandon your responsibilities in the defensive scheme to put up sack numbers? And that's not to say that he never got to rush the QB, because that's not true. He did, but just not all that often compared to some of these other pass rushers. And yes, some of the pressures need to turn into sacks at the next level. There's no question. But for a guy that was playing at A&M closer to 290, where he goes to the Combine Senior Bowl under 270, he already flashed incredible athleticism, close to 290 pounds. He was listed at 290. I don't know if he was quite playing that. I would have said maybe closer to 280. But he already flashed incredible athleticism and bend. Then he goes to the Combine and lights it up. I mean, some of the... I think literally the most athletic defensive end of all time. In terms of height, weight, speed, strength, explosiveness, #1 all time via RAS at MathBum on Twitter, Kent Lee Platt. Insanity. He's a great run defender. But at the Senior Bowl, he flashed as a pass rusher. He was dominant for a day, unblockable. So for a guy that, in my opinion, just moves differently, there's a lot to like here. And when he's not defending zone read, when he's not just setting the edge, you've got a pretty good pass rusher here who, in a down class in terms of top-end talent, Stewart's got the potential to be one of the better guys in this class. There's a world where that doesn't happen, but I'm going to tell you this. Worst case scenario, he's a really good run defender that flashes occasionally as a pass rusher and nothing else. But his floor is a starting defensive end. He's an insane athlete that has flashed as a pass rusher. I think really sky's the limit for him. I know not everybody liked the pick. I like the pick. I thought he was a top 10 player. So how do I not like it at 17? Demetrius Knight in the middle of the second round. It was tough because after the top 2 linebackers, it does kind of fall off a cliff. Because Schlesinger is a dog. We'll talk about him with the Browns here in a minute. And obviously, I love Jahad Campbell. We'll talk about him later. Demetrius Knight, hey, solid enough athlete, solid enough size, team leader. He's got a chance to develop into being a starter, but it did seem a little bit early. It seemed like, okay, we need a linebacker. We better take one because there are no linebackers that will be available next time we pick. But in terms of the true talent, yeah, it's not amazing. A transfer from Georgia Tech. He's a good player, but someone you're happy about maybe in the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th compared to the 2nd. It wouldn't have been a 5th round guy, but you would have been a lot happier about it around in the future. And there was a lot of talent at the board at this time, but I get thinking you need a linebacker. We like Demetrius Knight. Let's bring him in. And then Dylan Fairchild in the 3rd, I thought was another like reach, right? So I thought there were linemen I preferred. If you're going to get a guard, and I get, again, same type of deal. I don't think the board fell that great for the Bengals here. If you passed on Gray Zabel at 17, the guard options got slim quick. And the linebacker options, if you passed on Jahad Campbell, got thin quickly. I think they were hoping probably Carson Schlesinger got there. He didn't get there. Browns grabbed him at the top of the draft. And same thing for Fairchild. They're like, we need to grab a guard right now. Dylan Fairchild. So he's got a chance to be a starter for them just because they don't really have much there right now, but I don't think he's a guaranteed upgrade at the position. Barrett Carter, I do like, because he has flashed in the past. He's a really good athlete. You may have something here. And in the 4th round, I don't think it's that early. I think he can be a good player. He's a really good athlete. There's something to develop here at least. Jalen Rivers, big-bodied offensive lineman that has some versatility. So if there's an injury, he might be able to do some different things for you and plug in if he ends up making the team. But I did really like Taj Brooks in the 6th. I think he's a really solid player, ultra productive at Texas Tech. He is a powerful runner who has decent enough long speed, but even though I would say he's quicker than fast, he's got really quick feet. He's got good power. He runs the ball hard and tough. He's a tough player to get down to the ground, and he can catch the football well out of the backfield. I think he's a really solid player. I think this was a good class for the Bengals, but, you know, some, I guess you could call them reaches, but we don't know how these guys are going to develop. But in terms of how I viewed these guys, kind of expected a few of these guys to go a little bit later than they did. But if the Bengals feel comfortable about them, you know, might just be good fits into their system. Al Golden, new DC of the Bengals, wanted Demetrius Knight, clearly. Needed a linebacker that could play. And that's what they did. I'm going to throw up a B+ for Cleveland. I hate that they traded out of the best player in the draft in Travis Hunter, but they got a first-round pick next year. They got a haul to do it. They got a pick at the top of the 2nd round, where they took Quinshon Judkins. So I don't hate the draft, because Mason Graham, yeah, is about the 5th best player in the draft. You could even make an argument he's the 4th best player in the draft. He's a really stout run defender, powerful, and has ability as a finesse pass rusher. Shorter arms, but it's a leverage game in the trenches. I don't really mind it. Mason Graham's a really, really solid player. I hate that you traded out of Travis Hunter, but I love that you got a first-round pick next year. That's amazing. especially when you may end up needing a quarterback. You're trying to get ammunition to move up. I get it. I see what's happening. I respect it. Graham's a good player. If you weren't that attached to Travis Hunter, I get trading out of the spot. Carson Schwarzenegger is a dog. Someone that was listed at like 220, 225 pounds at UCLA, and it showed. I mean, this guy could really, really move. Very instinctive, great player in coverage, but also played bigger than 225 as a run defender. And then he shows up to the combine over 240, didn't run or anything, but jumped a crazy good vertical. Explosion is what you're seeing there. Explosiveness, excuse me. Off the charts. So for a team leader that is instinctive, that is great in coverage, that is athletic, and that speed shows up, I like it at the top of the second round when there was a steep fall off after him. Number 3 was Quinshon Judkins here at the top of the second round. I thought there were better running backs available, but if you're looking for a real good downhill back, if you're looking for that type of player, I like Quinshon Judkins for this team. He's a bigger running back. He's 220 pounds, ran sub 4.5. Has he played quite that fast on tape? I don't know, but he is powerful. He's not going to be a great receiving option probably, and he's not really a great lateral mover, but in terms of just get him the football, go north-south, run downhill, Quinshon Judkins is quite good at that. I'm a fan of his for sure. And then I was not a huge fan of Harold Fannin Jr. anywhere, but with the Browns, I love the fit. I think he's a good player, especially after the catch. He's not going to post production like what he did at Bowling Green in the NFL. I mean, not even close. I think there's a chance he never, this might end up aging badly, but I think there's a chance he doesn't ever end up having 555 yards in a season, let alone 1555, because he's going to be an H-back in Cleveland. He's going to be a secondary or even tertiary option at tight end. If you even want to call him a tight end, he's more of a hybrid fullback. He's an H-back, really. So I think you're looking at like Chiga Okonkwo, I would say, is what you're hoping Harold Fannin Jr. can be. And that is probably what you're going to see his usage look like if you look at what Tennessee does with Okonkwo. But I think Fannon's going to a great spot here, and I think Kevin Stefanski will be able to creatively use him and get him the football. What is this pick? I mean, if you're drafting a backup quarterback, there are worse guys to have. He's super experienced. He's a future coach, I'm sure. He's just not an NFL quarterback to me. I hate to be disrespectful to Dylan Gabriel because, how is he not? He's so productive. He played in college for 20 years. Dylan Gabriel was born in 1980. He started 170 college games. Don't look those numbers up. But, man, the arm's not great. Oh, but he threw 60 yards down the field here. Anyone that's a college quarterback can make that throw. There are high school quarterbacks that can do that. His arm talent in tight windows is not great. And he's not an amazing decision maker all the time. He's just, okay, how can we get the ball out as quickly as possible underneath, let my receivers make a play? And that works sometimes, right? Until you see teams in the NFL that dare you to throw deep because they've got the defensive backs that can cover down the field, and then you are in an absolute box the entire game, and there's nothing you can do. He's just not a starting quarterback ever to me. Spot starter, maybe, but I don't think this guy's ever going to be a franchise difference maker. And you took him with a pretty high pick in the third round. I don't know. Dylan Sampson in the fourth. Think he's a solid player, good athleticism, good receiving option out of the backfield as well. Highly productive, of course, at Tennessee. Has some pretty good lateral movement skills as well. Pretty good agility. I like Dylan Sampson. I think he was one of the better running backs in this class, and it was a stacked running back class. And then Shedeur Sanders in the fifth round. The value was incredible here. Shedeur Sanders is not an elite prospect. He's not an elite prospect. He's not a great QB prospect, but he's not a terrible prospect. He was the most accurate quarterback in the draft. And that's not a completion percentage thing. Somebody was thinking I was talking about completion percentage earlier. I'm talking about actually watching the film, charting these throws, looking at on-target percentage. How often is he actually putting the ball on them? What does the ball placement actually look like when you're watching him? Can he throw with velocity? Can he drive the football? That's a big question. But can he throw with touch? Absolutely. Is he a gamer? Can he make plays in big moments? He can. He has. He should not have been available in the 5th round. But if you're drafting backup quarterbacks, why does Gabriel go ahead of Sanders? Because you don't want the distraction that is Shedeur Sanders if you want to go out and get a backup. But Sanders has starter potential. Does that mean he's ever going to be a top 5 or 10 QB in the league? Absolutely not. It does not mean that. But can he be a starter you can win with? Absolutely. If the Niners can win with Brock Purdy, you can win with Shedeur Sanders. And that's not a shot at Purdy. It's just he doesn't have elite anything, really. He's good at navigating the pocket. He does make quick decisions, but this guy's accuracy is not anything crazy. He can't really throw the ball down the field that well, but he makes quick decisions. He has some escapability to him, and that's why Brock Purdy's been a great player. Sanders can take his strengths and his skill set and become a guy you can win with. And he's got to stop holding the football too long. But his accuracy is great. He does have some improvisational ability despite not being a great athlete. But if he can play in the structure under Kevin Stefanski, he's got a chance to be a starter that you can win games with. And I'm very interested to see who the week 1 starter is going to be in Cleveland, because it is a very, very, very interesting quarterback room. Kenny Pickett could be the starter. Shedeur Sanders, maybe. I think Joe Flacco's back in Cleveland. It's an interesting quarterback room, no question. I don't know what's going to happen in Cleveland, but Shedeur's got a chance. Cowboys kind of just ended up doing the most obvious thing ever with Tyler Booker here. I thought they had a really nice draft overall. Tyler Booker maybe seems like a little bit of a reach, but you lost a Hall of Fame offensive guard. You replace him right away with a guy that helps build your Tyler offensive line. Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker now. You got to keep Dak upright. Got to keep Dak healthy. Booker is a step in the right direction towards doing so. He is a massive human being. I mean, 6'5", 321 doesn't even feel right. He looks like he's 6'8", 370. And he doesn't have the best movement skills ever, but he's a tough guy to get around. He is a mauler in the run game. He's a good player. Donovan Ezeraku, here in the middle of the 2nd round. Super long arms, a ton of production, athletic enough. He's not super explosive or anything like that, but he's got good agility. His agility testing was actually fantastic. And he's got a good chance to be a rotational pass rusher for them right away that can develop into being a starter. I love Savone Revel, one of my favorite players in the entire draft. I think this guy's an absolute stud. He's got elite size and athleticism. He drops in the draft because of a torn ACL, but he can play press. He can play bump and run. He can stay in phase. He can run with anybody down the field. He can locate the football in the air. He is a ball hawk. He's a great, great, great player. Not a great tackler, but the injury is what drops him in the draft. He's an awesome player. Love Savone Revel. Hate that he's going to the Cowboys as a fan of a rival team. I think Jaden Blue in the 5th round is a really, really nice pickup because he is a great receiving back with excellent speed. Bit of a fumbling issue, but a small sample. We'll see if that changes. I'm not going to say that he's going to be an every down type of contributor for the Cowboys, but he's got some real juice. He's like budget Travion Henderson, and I think there's value to that. Jamar James in the 5th, and I quite liked Johnny Cornelius here at the end of the 6th round. I think he's got a chance to develop into being a starter for them. Jay Toya, I did not know much about, but looks like he's going to end up being a nose tackle, 342 pounds, maybe a space eater in the middle of the field there. Phil Moff is a big running back that really isn't great. He's not the best athlete, wasn't highly productive at Clemson. He was somebody that going into 2024 you were excited about, but he's just never really shown it. He's just a tank of a player. And then I knew nothing about Tommy I think it was pronounced a King Baste. I'm sure I destroyed that. A King Baste or something like that. I don't think it was as it looks phonetically, because I want to say like A King Basote, but I don't think that was how it was pronounced. I can't remember. I did not know anything about him. I surely saw him play next to Jordan Phillips, but I guess wasn't particularly noteworthy. But I think the Cowboys had a really nice draft for the most part, and I actually will even bump this up to an A-. I think A- is a bit more fitting. Gonna give the Broncos a B-. I thought they did okay here. I mean, I love Jahdae Barron. I think he's an absolute stud. Monster player. I've talked about him a lot, but long story short, super instinctive, ball hawk, always in the right place at the right time, student of the game. A little bit smaller. I mean, he's like 5'10 and change with 29-inch arms, but is so instinctive, so great in zone coverage. I think he's an awesome fit here in Denver. I thought it was a bit early for RJ Harvey, but highly productive, kind of a stout, stocky running back with some pretty good athleticism overall. And I think he's going to be able to catch the football out of the backfield for Sean Payton. I think that's why they wanted RJ Harvey over some like better running backs available, because they're not better if RJ Harvey's a better fit for the system. It seems slightly early in the second round, but he's a good fit, and I think he's going to end up being a good player. Pat Bryant, it also seemed a bit early. He was somebody I liked going into the year and was fairly productive in 2024, but I don't know. He's lacking the juice that I typically covet at wide receiver. You got to have a little bit of explosiveness to your game. I just don't think he moves like an NFL wide receiver. He just looks slow to me. And I think he's decent enough after the catch. He can win 50-50 balls. I liked him in 2023, but I think he's just an okay player. And again, it seemed a little bit early for Pat Bryant. I did like Savion Jones and Q Robinson. I mean, Savion Jones is 6'5", 280, who is a good athlete as well. Really, really interesting pick. I like the Broncos continuing to invest in the pass rush. And Q Robinson is the most exciting one to me, because watching him, he was one of those guys where I go, okay, who is that? Because he flashed. And it was tough to get him on the field in 2023. There was so much talent there. 2022 ends up playing a little bit in 2024. As you can see, only 5 starts. But man, he's got good size. He's got great athleticism and is maybe only scratching the surface of what he can become. They took the punter, Jeremy Crawshaw, in the 6th. I can't really even tell you anything about that. One of many Australian punters making their way to college football and ultimately the NFL. And I didn't know about Caleb Lohner either. Former basketball player who didn't play college football until 2024. See if he ends up making the team. It was a decent draft class. Not one of my favorite, but they did get my favorite player in Texas Longhorn legend, Thorpe Award winner, Jahdae Barron. Hook 'em. I thought they had a decent draft. I think the Lions are in the same boat. I think they had a nice draft as well. Kicking things off with Tyleik Williams, I think he's arguably the best run defender in this class. He's a monster human being with a little bit of pass rush upside. I mean, he can get into the backfield, and he can ruin plays pretty quickly. Like, shockingly quick for someone of his size. And again, he's a great run defender. I like Tate Ratledge where the Lions got him. We knew they did a ton of research on the guards, and they ended up deciding that Tate Ratledge here in the second was their guy. I like it. He's experienced. He's talented. Isaac Desla in the third. Didn't know him before the combine, but found out about him in a hurry. And the tape is pretty good. He's 6'4", close to 215 pounds, and really, really athletic. Can really run, can really jump. He's a fun player. And I think is a receiver type that the Lions didn't really have. Like, yeah, sure, he's a deep threat, but also can go up and get the football. That's a fun combination. Miles Frazier, I thought was good value here in the 5th. I was kind of surprised he was still available, and it's good depth on the offensive line, if nothing else. A lot of people like Hassanine here. Wasn't super impressed with him. However, I know he was productive. I know he came over from out of the country and is still learning to play football. I think he's Egyptian. And yeah, journey from Egypt to the NFL. And again, he was fairly productive. He's flashed, but I don't think the athleticism is anything crazy. And he's still learning to play football, really. But yeah, could end up being a guy that makes the team. Dan Jackson, a baller here at the end of the round, or end of the draft here in the 7th. Ended up testing really well at the pro day, ran in the 4.4s, and he didn't really play a ton at Georgia until 2024. So it's but he was a guy that did flash. So I don't know, he's a fun player, and again, could make the team, but I think will make an impact on special teams. And here's another Georgia guy that transferred, Dominic Lovett, who just never really ended up producing as much as I thought he might. But Georgia really didn't throw the ball very well in 2024, but they also really didn't have many good receivers. Lovett was disappointing. Arian Smith is really just a track guy. But at the end of the 7th round, have at it. I thought this was, yeah, fine draft. Gonna give the Packers a C. Thought they got some decent players. Of course, Longhorn legend Matthew Golden, hook 'em here with pick number 23. I really like Matthew Golden. I definitely don't think he's Garrett Wilson, but I do think he is athletic enough. I know he ran in the 4.2s, 4.29 at the combine. He doesn't quite play to that speed, but that's okay. Almost nobody does. I think he's more of a 4.4 type of guy, and that's fine. Running in the 4.4s is great. And on the field, I think we know what that kind of equates to. It's good speed, it's plus speed, right? But it's not exceptional, but it's quite good. And at Houston, he was a really good return man. He's got some shimmy after the catch, but what he showed at Texas this past season, this was the guy. Very good route runner, very good hands. When Texas needed a big play, they threw the ball to Matthew Golden, and he made those plays. Just the Packers, they've got a lot of good receivers, not a lot of great ones. They're hoping Matthew Golden can be their great receiver. I do like Jaden Reed, but he and Golden are different players. Anthony Belton in round 2. Thought it was a bit early for Belton, but he is huge. He is strong as an ox, and I guess he's going to compete to start at left tackle. I thought there was a lot of value on the board here for their defense to improve, and they just ignored it again. And I think their defense is where I really thought they needed some help, especially in the secondary, especially at corner. We don't know what's going to happen with Jair Alexander, and I don't know that they needed more depth on the O-line unless they really liked Anthony Belton, because I thought Rasheed Walker was fine enough. You just drafted Jordan Morgan in the 1st last year. You just paid Aaron Banks a ton of money. You have Zach Tom, who's a great right tackle. Elton Jenkins is still one of the best linemen in the league. I would have gone a different direction here, but maybe Anthony Belton ends up being a starter for them at left tackle. Savion Williams, fun gadget player. But, I mean, do you take that here in the 3rd and continue to ignore defense? Williams is 6'4", 222, but he's not really what you'd think of when you see that body type. He's really more of a running back, honestly. But he's a great return man. He's someone you design a couple plays for a game, and you see what he can do, because he's a special player with the ball in his hands. And then they finally went defense with Barron Sorrell. Hook 'em. Love Barron Sorrell. Got better every single year. He's got good size. He's got good athleticism. Production hasn't been anything crazy, but he did flash. He made some big plays for Texas. I'm a big Barron Sorrell guy. Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State. I didn't watch him in 2024, but was all over the field for Oklahoma State in 2023. Felt early, but it's a 5th round. I guess how early can it be? I thought this was a little earlier than it was, but no, I mean, that's fine. Like, whatever, right? It's the 5th round. Colin Oliver. Warren Brinson, bigger rotational defensive lineman. Got some good athleticism to him. I didn't watch Micah Robinson. I did watch Tulane, but Micah Robinson was not someone that ever flashed to me. And then John Williams of Cincinnati, another guy I did not watch. So it was a lot of, I don't know what to do with this draft, because none of these players I thought of that highly outside of Matthew Golden. And I like some of the players they got. Didn't really love almost anybody. So this is one of those drafts where I feel like there was talent on the board, and I feel like good scheme fits, and they didn't really go in those directions. There's a reason why they're making the picks and I'm not. I get that. You got to make the picks for your team. They know the team better than I do. But I feel like, man, Corner's been exposed for them in the past. I know you bring in Nate Hobbs in free agency. Like, I get that. I still think you need more. I still don't know what's happening with Jair Alexander. You needed to improve your pass rush in a big way. And I'm hoping for their sake that you see Rashawn Gary bounce back. I think Brenton Cox Jr. can be a good player. I hope that Lucas Van Ness can develop for them, but it might not be enough. And is Baron Sorrell enough here in the 4th? I don't know. Give the Texans a C+. Thought they got some nice players in here. I'm particularly high on Jalen Knoll, who they got in the 3rd round. I thought that was really good value for someone that I don't think needs to be relegated to the slot, although he may be best there. Super explosive. It definitely shows up on tape. He's good with the ball in and out of his hands. It's a solid route runner and very, very explosive. Ariante Ursary in the 2nd round. He was someone that got a lot of hype early on. He's got a chance to start at left tackle or right tackle for the Texans at some point. We'll have to see what that ends up being, because I don't love Titus Howard being a starting tackle for them. And is Blake Fisher ready to jump in and start at left tackle? I don't know. Because they traded Laramie Tunsil, they obviously feel good enough about him and what was going to be available in the draft. But they traded out of the 1st round. And they got a 3rd round pick from the Giants, right, next year. And a 2nd round pick from the Giants this year. I guess that was later traded down to the from Miami through Las Vegas. Or this was the Giants pick, excuse me. Got Jaden Higgins. I'm not that high on Jaden Higgins. I don't really think he is Nico Collins. I do not think he was the 3rd best receiver in the draft. He's someone where I wish his size showed up more often, because yeah, he can go up and win those 50-50 balls, but I often did not see him choose to go up and high point the ball, catch the ball out of his frame. He let the ball travel into him, and that kind of is concerning to me, because I've seen that type of receiver not work in the NFL. I'm not saying he's Quentin Johnston, because he's not. Because he wins more 50-50 balls, more jump balls, for sure. But I'd like to see him catch with his hands a little bit more and not let the ball play him, if that makes sense. I think he's good. He's got good size. He's a good athlete. But I don't think this was some, awesome pick with the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. I think it's fine, right? I was more excited for them with Jalen Knoll. Then they grabbed Jalen Smith in the 3rd. I thought that was a crazy reach. Woody Marks, I thought, was a bit of a reach too. Thought there were better running backs available. He's a good receiving back, though. If you're looking for a pure receiving back, Woody Marks is a nice option. Jaquavius Marks, former Mississippi State transfer. He's a good player. Jalen Reed, I loved on day 3. Really, really solid pick. And while he was the 2nd best Penn State safety, I think, in this draft, I think he is as solid as they come with great size. Could end up being a starter at strong safety for them. Graham Mertz, I did not think was a draftable player. He was awful at Wisconsin. You know what? He had a game or two at Florida before getting injured, but he was mostly awful. They finished with Keontae Hamilton and Luke Lachey. I did not watch Keontae Hamilton. And Luke Lachey was pretty good a couple of years ago. I was excited about him as a prospect, and it never really ended up materializing. But you know what? Iowa tight ends. He's got great size. He's a good athlete. There may be something here. Old reliable B, I missed you. Tyler Warren, great pick at 14. He was one of the best players in the draft. Solid as they come, reliable. Good with the football in the air. Great with the football in his hands. Can block a little bit as well. He's an awesome player. Colts needed a tight end. They got one. I'm not a huge JT Tuimoloau fan. I think this is the definition of a solid player. And I think the Colts have done probably too much picking super high upside athletes and not focusing on the high floor type of players, because I think you do need a mix. And JTT has a high floor. He's going to be a solid player. He can set the edge. He has flash in the pass as a pass rusher, but he's not that athletic. He's more of an effort guy, and I wonder what his ceiling is. Has had some huge games at Ohio State. I thought he was going to end up being a crazy prospect, but when you actually get to watching him, he's just not that athletic. And I wonder if he develops as a pass rusher enough to make this pick worth it. But it's a high pick for a guy that's a good edge setter, and I wonder what else. But he's going to be a good player, I think. Justin Wally, I actually like this pick. I really do, because I got to him late in the process, and I ended up thinking he was quite a good player. I know he's number 194 on this ESPN board, but I like Justin Wally. I think he's got inside-outside versatility and flexibility, and I don't think it was that early for him. I don't love it. I don't think it was a steal or anything, but I do like the player quite a bit. Jalen Travis, super athletic offensive lineman, insane size, but is a really, really good athlete with, super, super long arms. This stuff is valuable in the NFL, and I think this is going to be a nice developmental offensive lineman for them with potential to start at left tackle of the future. DJ Giddens, I also really liked. I think this was a guy with very good size, runs pretty upright from my recollection, but has good athleticism, can catch the football, can definitely block. He's got 3-down potential. He is a valuable, valuable piece. You want to get Jonathan Taylor a breather, get DJ Giddens in there on 3rd down. I think he can make an impact. Riley Leonard is Daniel Jones. That is the review. I don't think of him that highly in the 6th round. Why not? Bring in Daniel Jones to work with Daniel Jones. Tim Smith and then Hunter Wohler finish out this class. I like Hunter Wohler. He was somebody that really flashed at the Senior Bowl and kind of put him on the radar for me. He's got really good size. I think he's athletic enough. I think he's a nice player here, midway through the 7th round. I'm going to give the Jaguars a C+. They got the best player in the draft. That's a great, great pick. He is a really good receiver, was the best receiver in the class. He's a great corner, was the best corner in the class. He is a rare, rare talent. I will say generational. We have never seen a player that was the best receiver and corner at the same time in the same draft class. Don't listen to anybody that tells you he was not. Maybe you think, okay, I prefer a different receiver. He's number 2. Or maybe you could prefer a different corner, but you're wrong, I think. Travis Hunter is an incredible prospect. Some were saying, oh, he's not even the 5th best receiver or corner. He's just whatever. He just happens to play both. You're overrating him. No, you haven't really seen him if you think that. This is an incredible player. You traded up a 1st-round pick and a pick at the top of the 2nd round to go up and move up for a non-QB. That's a little tough. That's tough. But the player, they got the best player in the draft. So what do you do with that? Didn't have a pick for a while. Got Caleb Bransaw. I like Caleb Bransaw. I think he's going to end up being a slot corner. They drafted a slot corner I liked last year in Jerry and Jones, right? So where does he play? Hunter, I guess, is going to be a primary receiver that plays some corner. I don't think he's going to play 2-way full-time. That's crazy, but maybe. Seemed a bit early for Caleb Bransaw, but yeah, he can be. He's, first of all, tested great. He was the guy that flashed when you're watching Tulane, but I don't know. It felt like an interesting pick for Jacksonville. Maybe you're not attached to Jerry and Jones, new regime coming in. And then Wyatt Milam was a name that got hype early, but I don't really know exactly how good he is. I think he's going to slide inside to play guard. He's not going to be a tackle anymore. The arms are just way too short, I would say. But chance to end up being a starter, I think that's a decent selection. And I really like Bashal Tutin. He's got great size overall. Can catch the football a little bit, is a really, really good athlete, and he's a tough player to bring down. I think that's a combination that makes him a really good rotational running back, if not potentially the main running back a couple of years down the line. Jack Kaiser, team leader, good tackler. I mean, this is a classic culture pick. What a guy. Jalen McLeod, Rion Lane, Jonah Monheim, and I'll tell you what, I like LaQuint Allen down the board. LaQuint Allen is somebody that I thought was one of the better running backs in this class, and that it may end up being the 15th best running back, because this class was so stacked, but I think LaQuint Allen is a really good player, and definitely flashed, can impact the game in a number of different ways, especially out of the backfield as a receiver. He's a fun player. I think he should make the team, and he went at the end of the 7th round. I like him as a player. This was a nice draft. Chiefs get a B+ because I think Josh Simmons has the potential to be awesome. He has the chance to be really, really good. And he drops because of a torn patellar tendon. That's a tough injury. That's a brutal one to come back from. But he was already moving around at his pro day to a great level. And the Chiefs needed tackles so badly, and they got arguably the best one in the draft. Without injury, Simmons was putting up the best tape of any tackle in this class. He could have been the first one off the board. They got him at 32 after a trade down. They got Omar Norman Lott at the end of the second round. He's a little undersized, but he is an explosive pass rusher, and he's not going to be a 3-down player probably, but can really, really get after the quarterback. Sub-package player, rotational player. I like him. Ashton Gelati I was not as high on, but this is a classic Spags guy. You look at the build, it was obvious. He's been productive. A lot of people like Ashton Gelati. At this point, this is fine value for him, but I'm not like some huge fan. I think he's fine, right? High effort guy. Noel Williams, though, I liked quite a bit. He's got overall good size. He's got overall good athleticism. He can play in zone. He can play in man. And I think the Chiefs needed to go out and upgrade cornerback, and I think they've managed to do so at the end of the third round. Noel Williams is a player I like. He was someone I got to really late in the class, but I'm glad I did it. Noel Williams and Wally I got to late. We talked about Wally a bit earlier. But man, I think this could end up being a real steal here for Kansas City. He's a good player. As is Jalen Royals. He's awesome with the football in his hands. He's explosive. And I think if you're worried about Rashee Rice, I would be. Royals is someone that can step in and play that role eventually and be good. He's not much of a route runner right now, but he can win in other ways. Jeffrey Bassa, really good athlete. Had a pretty good Senior Bowl. Tested well. He's a decent player. Special teamer here maybe at the back end of the fifth. And then Brashard Smith is another running back I like a lot. He's a hybrid receiver, and he can really catch the football. I think he'll find a way to be productive here for the Chiefs. I cannot believe he was available in the 7th round because he can impact the game even as a specialist, right? Like, this is not maybe an every down player, but there is a value for every single team in the league with Brashard Smith, and he goes in round 7. I thought the Chiefs had a really nice draft. And I definitely liked some of what the Chargers did as well. Marion Hampton at 22 might have just been the best player available. He has great size. His lateral agility, lateral movement skills, not amazing, but north-south, he's a tough guy to bring down because he can run through you or run by you. And for a team that wants to be known by that identity, power run, man, Amarion Hampton is a really good player. And it's not to say that he is poor lateral movement, but it's not really his claim to fame. He's more of a north-south guy to me, and he's like a one-cut style runner to me. And I think that one cut and gone, that's what Amarion Hampton can do. And he also brings a unique blend of power with that ability. I think he's a good player, and he just is going to fit in so perfectly with the Chargers. Trey Harris in the second. Someone I wasn't like that high on, but he's got very good size. He's got good hands. Average athleticism for the most part. Not really a complete route tree at Ole Miss, or certainly not. So you wonder how that's going to translate. But he's got good size, good hands. Can hurt you on double moves. I do like Trey Harris, but not an amazing athlete. But they needed someone who could flat out just catch the football, and Trey Harris can do that. Jamari Caldwell in the 3rd round. I didn't think was awful, maybe a bit of a reach, but is a player that absolutely flashed and can really eat up some space at 330 pounds. I like Kyle Kennard a lot. Super productive Georgia Tech transfer that had some monster games for South Carolina. And as a designated pass rusher rotational guy, I think the value in the 4th is awesome. They bring in Keandre Lambert-Smith, has some good deep threat ability, big speed guy, value in an offense, at least as a field stretcher. Arondé Gadsden is just a really big receiver. I think about Johnny Wilson with Arondé Gadsden. He's not really a tight end. We'll see how he's deployed, see how the Chargers opt to use him. And they finish out with Branson Taylor, RJ Mickens, and then Florida transfer Triquez Bridges, who I was shocked to see get drafted. He didn't really play very much for Florida, so it's tough to say. RJ Mickens was really nice value here at the end of the 6th. I thought he would end up going earlier. And this was a decent safety class. Mickens was among them. He's a good player. So I thought the Chargers had a nice, solid draft. Gonna give the Rams a B. You got to remember, they picked up a 1st-round pick when they traded out of the 1st. But did they get any true difference makers? I actually think they might have. Because Terrence Ferguson has great size. He's a really good athlete, and I think Sean McVay is going to be able to get the most out of him. He's a good player. Josiah Stewart in the third, another good player. Didn't test well, but is explosive on the field. Super high effort guy. Super, I would say, rugged as an edge defender. This guy is strong as an ox, even though he's really, really small at 6'1", sub 250. Not the longest arms in the world at all, but can just flat out play. So this is a good player. And he goes into an edge room that's already looking pretty good. Jarquez Hunter, I like as a player. He's got good size. He's got good athleticism. He's powerful as hell. He's a yards after contact machine. Hamilton in the fifth, I didn't know a ton about. I've obviously seen him play, but did not watch him individually. And then Chris Paul Jr., I thought might have been their best value pick of the draft. He was one of the best 3 or 4 linebackers in the draft, no question. I think probably the third best linebacker. He's good in coverage. He's great against the run. This is extremely solid value, and he's also a great fit into this defense. Oh my goodness, I think he's going to end up being a good player here for the Rams. He's got starter potential as they finished out with Kanata Mumfield. Yeah, didn't really think he was going to get drafted, but ends up getting drafted here, and we'll see if he makes the team. The Raiders took some real chances in this draft. I think they may be rewarded with some real studs. I don't mind Ashton Genty at 6. He was one of the best 3 players in the draft. He is a true blue chipper. He is an incredible player. A nice combination of speed, power, but more than power, it's just the ability to bounce off and shake off would-be tacklers. Arm tackles don't exist. You just can't bring this guy to the ground. You got to stack the box. You've got to have multiple guys that are going to try and bring him down because he's so tough to get down. He is just, we know it at this point, ultra productive, vision's great, agility's great. He is an incredible player. At number 2, back into the second round, got Jack Besh after a trade down. Besh, I think, is a good player. He's got good size. He's very tough, very powerful on the field. He's somebody that has great play strength, very good hands. I think he's going to be a solid contributor to this offense, and they needed more at receiver. Darian Porter was the big swing because he's another former receiver playing corner that is a tremendous athlete, and we just haven't really seen him play much corner. So he's very raw, but he's going to a great spot to get developed under Pete Carroll. I like Darian Porter. He's got really good potential. In terms of size and athleticism at corner, you really won't find better. Caleb Rogers, here at the end of the third, big-bodied, good athlete that I'd be interested to see if he ends up moving inside to guard, but good depth on the O-line. And then Charles Grant is the super fun one at the end of the third. Super athlete, but maybe even more than athletic. The guy just has maybe the biggest tackle body of all time. I mean, he's got incredibly long arms. I think longer than 35 inches. It's like he was born in a lab, made in a lab to play tackle. He just played at William & Mary. He's played no NFL competition. He's raw as an offensive lineman, and that's okay. He is going to need time to develop, but if you can develop him, he's got things you can't teach. So we'll see if he ends up being a starter for this Raiders team after Colton Miller is gone, which it seems like that might end up happening. And I like Dante Thornton in the 4th. He is a big-time speed threat, 6'5", 205, can really run. His yards per catch is insane. This is your field-stretching deep threat. I think every team's got to have one. I don't mind taking that guy in the 4th round. I don't. Tonka Hemingway, and I really am particularly high on J.J. Pegues. Moved all over the defensive front here for Ole Miss, and it was a really good defensive line because you look at, okay, you got J.J. Pegues, sure, but you also have Jared Ivey, Princely Uman Mielen, Walter Nolan, and then behind them, of course, you have one of the most productive young fun players in all of college football. Super light, so unlikely to be like a big time edge prospect next year. But Suntarine Perkins is a a really, really fun player that is just like a baller. Like, he's what Harold Perkins, or what people think Harold Perkins is at this point. But there were a lot of guys, and Pegues continually flashed. And I think he's got starter potential. In the 6th round, that seems insane, but I think that could be the case. They finished things out with Tommy Mellott, Cam Miller, and Cody Lindenberg. Cody Lindenberg, I think, is a good player, team leader type of guy that really, really can tackle. And I think they end up with just a real solid draft class overall. This was just a bunch of solid players, and then some really high upside guys as well, like Darian Porter, like Charles Grant, like Dante Thornton, like JJ Pegues. And I think given the picks that they had, the Dolphins did a really nice job here. Kenneth Grant at 13 might seem a little bit early, but he's got as much upside as almost anybody in this draft. 6'4", I think played closer to 340 pounds. Really, really athletic. There are just times where he doesn't show up. I mean, there's some games where he is erased, where the pad level gets too high, where he doesn't contribute. There are also some games where he absolutely dominates. If you can get that guy, this is almost a steal at 13. I like Jonas Savaiinaea at the top of the 2nd round because, again, there was a huge fall off on the offensive line after round 1 because a lot of the guards went. A lot of the top tackles went. Savaiinaea, I think, is athletic enough to stick out at tackle, but I think his best home is at guard in the NFL. And you look at the Dolphins, and that's where they really need the help. You can say that, okay, tackle's more of a need now after Teron Armstead retired, but I don't think Savaiinaea is going to go out and play left tackle. I would be surprised, but I do think he's quite a good player, and I like him here at the top of the 2nd round. I don't think it was a reach. I know there was a Dolphins beat reporter that didn't even know who he was. What are we doing? Jordan Phillips in the 5th. Another player I really, really like. I think he was one of the better run defenders in this class. They got him in the 5th round. He is stout against the run. He plays low. The pad level's on the floor, on the ground, and he just holds the point of attack. I love him. I think he's a really good athlete, and I think if he can develop, he's going to end up being a really nice starter. But he's already such a great run defender. I think you're getting a good player here. For sure. I mean, nothing's for sure, but I really think you're getting a good player. Jason Marshall, really was surprised to see him get drafted. I've seen a lot of Florida over the years, and I did tape study on Jason Marshall. I really was not impressed. He's just a guy teams beat up on. I mean, it's tough for me to rate that highly. Dante Trader, he was a guy who got some hype really early in the process, but I'm not like especially blown away by him. And then Ollie Gordon. He was good a couple of years ago and really awful in 2024. I don't really know what to expect from him. I'm going to be honest. His 2024 was about as bad as it was good in 2023. He was amazing. I don't know where it went. I mean, Oklahoma State was just awful. It's like they tried to run the offense through Ollie Gordon, and it really did not work. Quinn Ewers in the 7th. I honestly don't think this was much of a fall, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy. I'm a Texas fan. I've seen every snap of Quinn Ewers' career. I'm tired about hearing about the arm talent because you don't see it. He had a quarter against Alabama as a freshman where I go, this guy's unbelievable. He got hurt, got knocked out of that game. To me, he was really never the same. He's constantly hurt. He has no ability to step up in the pocket. He might have decent athleticism, you just don't ever see it. And everyone wants to say, oh, his arm talent is unbelievable. Where? Because he might have it. If we don't see it, is it in the room with us? Is it valuable? He never grips it and rips it. He never drives the football. It's all touch throws, and he does make some great touch throws. I think in an offense with Miami, he could actually be good. I think he needed to go to like a Shanahan tree type place. I thought the Niners were going to get him. I tweeted out months ago being like, Quinn Ewers is a 49er because I thought it was a really good fit. Quinn's strengths are getting the ball out quickly, generally making smart decisions with the ball. He's not afraid to hit the check down, I'll tell you that, but he's afraid to take risks. and he typically is not successful on them. He's got one of the worst deep balls I've ever seen. He doesn't hit them. Texas was so limited. They couldn't throw down the field because the quarterback could not throw down the field. So if we're going to talk about arm talent, you don't see it. I mean, you really don't see it. Zeke Biggers here at the end of the 7th round. He got some hype in the offseason. You know what? I'm a Zeke Biggers guy. I think he could end up being a guy that makes the team. I'm rooting for him. I kind of don't think I ever love a Vikings draft. I do like Donovan Jackson at 24. I think that's fine value. He's a guy that stepped in to play left tackle for Ohio State and was mostly amazing. Big reason why Ohio State were national champions. And I really do mean that. He's got good movement skills. He's a good pass protector. But ultimately, his role in the NFL will be at guard. And that's where the Vikings really needed some help. So I really don't mind them going Donovan Jackson here, because this position, as we know, was really thinning out and about to start thinning out. So addressing a huge position of need with a really good player, I really can't hate on. Their next pick didn't come until the end of the 3rd in Ty Felton, who can really run. I think has a chance to be an impact player for them on offense, and if not on offense, on special teams. So we'll see what he can end up becoming. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins is another guy that has flashed. He's not a 3-down player. So I don't really know what to expect from him, because he's played really mostly on the interior at Georgia. And I know he moved around because everybody did at Georgia, but I don't know that he's athletic enough to be an edge rusher. And I don't think he's big enough to be an interior player. I think he's really only a sub-package type of guy. It's in the 5th round, but that's my opinion on Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. That's why he's available in the 5th. They got Kobe King in the 6th. I think he's a decent player. One of the better linebackers in this draft, even though it was not a strong linebacker class. I wonder what he's going to be on a down-to-down basis, because I don't think he's good enough in coverage. I think he's fine, but I don't think he really does anything that great. So does he make the team? Does he have starter potential? Is he just a special teamer? And then Gavin Bartholomew here. Got decent overall size. I can't offer you a ton on Gavin Bartholomew. I've seen a couple plays from him. I mean, he's not a bad athlete, but I did not do an individual tape study on him. The Vikings didn't really have a ton of picks at all. They traded to get some more. They went into this draft with 4. They finished with 5. I just don't know that they've really moved the needle that much here. So what type of grade can I give it? I think Donovan Jackson's great. I think Ty Felton has potential. I don't know if the rest have starter potential, which makes sense because they were picked at the top of the 5th or deep into the 6th round. But yeah, I just don't know if they've moved the needle much here. But I think the Patriots have. Will Campbell, I don't think it was some crazy value at 4. I don't think anybody does. I'm not going to call it a big reach, though. They needed left tackle. They had Will Campbell as the best tackle in the draft. They took Will Campbell at 4. You needed to protect Drake May. You likely weren't going to have a shot at a great tackle in round 2. So get Will Campbell. Get your guy. I respect it. Got to protect Drake May. I think Campbell could end up being a really good player. Got a chance to stick at left tackle. If not, you're going to have a really good guard. He's a really, really good player. Travion Henderson, a ton of juice, great pass protector, great receiving back. If he can stay healthy and take on an NFL workload, he's going to end up being an awesome player. Needed more weapons on offense. Doesn't mean just receivers. Got to build up the O-line, got to get more receivers in there, but Travion Henderson at running back is just better than everybody they had. He's more dynamic by a lot than Ramondre Stevenson, and he's a better version of Antonio Gibson. So why not? Kyle Williams in the 3rd. I love Kyle Williams. I thought he was one of the best 5 receivers about in this class. He's extremely explosive. He's a good enough route runner with good hands. He can get down the field. He can win after the catch. He's a really, really nice player. And I thought starter potential at the top of round 3. Jared Wilson, starter potential at the back of round 3. He was, the best true center in the class. And you could say, okay, well, other guys could end up moving inside. Maybe Gray Zabel's my number 1 center. Maybe I like Will Campbell at center, even though that kind of sounds insane. I think Will Campbell could be a very good center. Jared Wilson, though, Got good enough size, but is a really, really good athlete. Tape's really good. He's just a starter at the end of the 3rd round. Craig Woodson, another guy I liked a lot in the 4th round with his tape, with his athleticism. I'm surprised he's ranked so low here because I think Craig Woodson is good. I really think Joshua Farmer is really good too. I think he's got, again, starter potential. He's got great size. He's good against the run. He's really flashed as a pass rusher. He's a really good athlete. End of the 4th round. I mean, please. Braden Swinson, 5th round. Why was he available? He's got really good size for a true edge. He's a really good athlete. He has had games where he's taken over. I want to say the South Carolina game. He just absolutely dominated when I was watching that. He is a good player that should not have been here. And I preferred him to Savion Jones, the other LSU edge rusher. Got Andres Borregales here in the 6th. Is going to be their kicker, you'd assume. And then Kobe Minor was an interesting one because I didn't know him. He was just a good athlete, supposedly, that really didn't play. So I don't know what you're going to see here. Julian Ashby's a long snapper. I mean, go somewhere else for the analysis there. And I didn't know Marcus Bryant. Of course, I watched mostly Armand Membu when I was watching Mizzou. Bryant never really stood out to me other than being a big guy. So I would say that this was a really, really good draft class. I love what the Patriots were able to do. Saints started off by taking Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. I'll throw the horns up. Kelvin Banks Jr. is a good player. Solid character, solid size, solid athleticism. And I think his quarterback not being able to step up in the pocket hurt him because he didn't have as bad of a game against Georgia compared to what people think. He's a good player. Really, the thing for me is he's on the ground a little bit too much. Tyler Shuck at 40. I mean, I just can't support it. I think just because you need a quarterback doesn't mean you just take one wherever. I mean, I just don't think Tyler Shuck was near a top 50 player in the draft at all. I get why you like him. He's got NFL size. He's got an NFL arm. He does not have NFL consistency. He's not accurate enough. He's not a good enough decision maker. He's 30 years old. Why are we taking Tyler Shuck at 40 if we're the Saints? I don't get it. Just be bad, get a quarterback next year. And I get a bird in the hand is worth more than 2 in the bush. I've said that way too many times recently. But is Tyler Shuck even a bird? I don't know, dude. He's not. I don't think he's good. I think, I would love Tyler Shuck in, the 4th or the 5th. The 40, I mean, no way. I do like Vernon Broughton, of course. Horns up. He's got good size. He has flashed. Production's not anything crazy, but he's a big body that could be a nice rotational player for them. I love him. Thought it might have been a little bit early for Vernon Broughton compared to where I thought he would go, but I do like him. Is a stacked interior defensive line class. They obviously like Broughton. I love my horns. Vernon Broughton to the Saints. Hell yeah. Jonas, apparently. Sanker to the Saints here out of Virginia. Really good size, really good athlete, really good tape. I thought this might have been their best pick of the draft, although I did like Quincy Riley as well. I did like Fadil Diggs too. Stutzman's a good player. He's just not a 3-down guy. He's just not great in coverage, but good athlete, good downhill, good tackler. He's not good in coverage, in my opinion. Quincy Riley, I thought was nice value at the end of the 4th. Probably will be at his best in the slot, in my opinion, but is a really nice player here, value-wise at least, at the end of the 4th round. A lot of people like Devin Neal. I think Devin Neal's fine. Really productive. I think kind of jack-of-all-trades type of guy. He's a solid player, and again, had some huge games for Kansas. Catch the ball well. He's a solid player. At this spot, I really do like the pick. So many good running backs in this class, though. I did not know Maliki Madavao. Didn't, but great size. And then I do like Fadil Diggs. He's got good overall size and athleticism. Was productive at Syracuse. I think he's a solid player. We'll see if he ends up making the team here at the end of the 7th. But yeah, the Saints did get some players I liked. Tyler Shuck at 40 is really, it's killing me. And he's going to end up being their starting quarterback. We'll see if he's any good, but I think there's a real chance you're just picking quarterback again next year. So you just spent the number 40 overall selection when your roster's not good on what I do not think is your franchise quarterback. That's kind of tough to me. I like what the Jets did. Armand Membu at 7. Membu's a super freak athlete that I think has a good chance to stick at right tackle. He's so athletic. He just doesn't get beat. And he's a mover, not only out in space, but he's a people mover in the run game. Membu's great. Mason Taylor, another really solid player, another like good at everything type of guy. He's got really good size. He's a good blocker. He's a fluid mover. He doesn't drop the football. Jets need an upgraded tight end badly. And I do like Azariah Thomas. He's slow, but he's so good in press man coverage. He just gets his hands on you and it's over. And I think he's got a decent feel for zone as well, but he's not fast. So is he a guy that needs help over the top? Probably, but he's really good at just getting his hands on you. He's super long arms. If he touches you, it's over a lot of the time, right? Arian Smith in the 4th. It was like, what? I mean, you can say maybe he's got potential, but he's not a receiver. He's a track star. He's not a receiver. He runs fast. He has no feel for the game. He's not a good route runner. He does not catch the football. And the thing that stands out the most to me, I mean, he's got to stop jumping for no reason. It impacts his ability to track the ball, which he already does not do well. He is very athletic, though. Malachi Moore in the 4th, I thought was fine. He's flash at Bama, team leader. Going to be a player that can play in the slot for them. Francisco Mauigoa, I believe, is the brother of Francis Mauigoa. Very creative names there. And I think was a team leader for Miami. A tackling machine, of course, as you can see here. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited about his upside. High effort guy, but the athleticism's not incredible. And then Tyler Barron is another one of these guys that kind of reminds me of the prototype that we're seeing here of like 250-ish pounds, decent athlete, decent production, 6'4", 6'5". He's got a chance to make the team and be a rotational type of player. I think this was a pretty good draft. I like the first couple of picks more than the middle or the last couple of picks, but I mean, Arian Smith in the 4th, it just seemed really early. And then Mauigoa was a guy that didn't know if he was going to get drafted, but he did. I'm going to give the Eagles an A-. And is that even slightly high? They definitely had a good draft. No, I'm going to keep the A- probably. I hate the Eagles a lot. I hated that they took Jahad Campbell, who was a top 10 player for me. I love Jahad Campbell. I think he's got the ability to play off the ball and on the ball. His versatility, his athleticism, I think he's a standout player. I think he's going to be a really good player in Philadelphia, which bothers me a lot. He's from South Jersey, like super Southwest, so probably grew up an Eagles fan, so I'm sure he's stoked about that. I am less excited. They also took another Longhorn here. Seems like that was a trend. Cowboys took Longhorns. The Eagles took Longhorns, and I hated it. Andrew Makuba. He's a dog. He is a small safety, but he's so good. He's good in the box. He's good in the nickel. He can play in the slot at a high level. He's instinctive. He's so tough. Andrew Makuba is a dog. At the end of the 2nd round, I think it's fine value. I think he's going to find a way to make an impact somewhere. Ty Robinson, sub-package player. He's undersized. I don't think played as athletic as he tested. So I don't really know what to do with that. But came on the radar at the combine. Radar. And then I watched him, and I just wasn't that impressed. But in the 4th round, you're not that mad about it. I do think Mac McWilliams is a dog, though. He's a good athlete, and I like the tape. He's not ranked highly here, but for me, I thought he was a lot better than this. And I think the player here in the 5th is actually pretty good value. He's good, in my opinion. Smile Mondon. Smile is one of the linebackers I would have taken a chance on, ahead of some of the others that went before him. He's a really good athlete with a really good feel for zone coverage. I like him. He's decent as a blitzer. I expected more of him going into 2024, and just like Barrett Carter, we didn't really see a ton of it. But he's versatile. I think he's got pretty good potential. I think he could end up being a starter all the way down here in the 5th. We'll see if that happens. Drew Kendall in the 5th, more depth on the O-line. I think Kyle McCord is a good backup. He was another one of these quarterbacks I would have taken a chance on. He was highly productive. Kyle McCord of Syracuse is not the guy we saw at Ohio State that was basically forced to transfer. I think he's good. He was really good at Syracuse. Made some mistakes, but he had a real run of playing great. Miles Hinton, Antoine Powell, Ryland, I thought was actually pretty good value. But the pick I like the most here for the Eagles is, of course, Big Cam from Texas. He came out too early, but he's got things that you can't teach. He's absolutely huge. He's got long arms. He's got pretty good movement skills for his size. He's just got the uncoachable traits. He's raw. He is inexperienced. He played 1 season as a starter at Texas at right tackle and committed a ton of penalties. He's going to a great spot to get developed. He's got, again, uncoachable type abilities. If Jordan Mailata can be coached into an all-pro by Jeff Stoutland, Cam Williams can end up being a starter after Lane Johnson. So I wish he was at Texas for another year, another chance to really develop, but he's had some games where he's dominated. Go back to the Michigan game. This guy looked like a first-round pick. Didn't stay healthy and didn't play well enough down the stretch. Didn't play disciplined enough, but he's got a chance to be a really good one. I think the Steelers did a nice job. I was really high on Derek Harmon. I think he's another guy that's kind of just good at everything. Good pass rusher, good against the run, good athlete, maybe even like a really good athlete for his size. I like Derek Harmon a lot. He's your eventual Cam Hayward replacement. Year 1, I wonder if you try to get him on the field with Hayward, Keanu Benton at nose tackle, and Derek Harmon. I think Dean Lowry's there maybe over him right now, but I'd like Derek Harmon to play early and often. Caleb Johnson is a player I like a lot. I think he's going to the absolute perfect system. He's a big zone run guy. That's what they did at Iowa. He is so patient. He's got fantastic vision. He's got great size. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I'm a huge Caleb Johnson guy. I think he's one of the best 3 running backs in the class, and they got him here in the middle of the 3rd round. I think that's a great pickup. There are a lot of guys that like Jack Sawyer. He made some big plays, for sure. I think he's going to be solid against the run. He's a tough, high-effort guy. He made big plays at times, for sure. I've seen him. I think he's solid value at the back end of the 4th round. He's a fine player. And Yahya Black was definitely a nice pickup here. Absolutely massive human being. They got at the end of the 5th round. I think Yahya Black is going to be a nice rotational player. Will Howard in the 6th, I think, is fine. There was talk about him going round 1, round 2. Ridiculous. But also ridiculous that Tyler Shuck would be the 40th overall pick in the draft. And I'm still surprised Jackson Dart went round 1. But Will Howard, he's solid. Like, his accuracy is not special. I think he's going to be a solid backup. Arm strength isn't anything crazy. He's just a tough QB that is experienced now, and it's going to be a good backup. Although I would be surprised if he ends up being the starter. But you look at Pittsburgh, who's going to be their starting quarterback? It doesn't look great right now. Probably Aaron Rodgers, but can you say probably to that? I'm not sure that you can. They finished up with Carson Bruner, who is another team leader. I keep saying this for every linebacker, but that's what you hear about all these guys, which I guess makes sense. And big time tackler. I don't know if he's going to make the team. And then I did not know Dante Kent. And I know about Central Michigan DBs over the years. Did not watch Dante Kent. See what he can end up being if he even makes the team. But yeah, this was a solid class. Seahawks get an A. They finally address interior offensive line. Yes, John Schneider finally said, oh, okay, we do have the worst interior offensive line in the league, and we don't want Sam Darnold to die. We saw what happened when the interior O-line was not great for Minnesota, when the Rams dominated, and Sam Darnold did not play well as a result. Well, Sam Darnold's got to face that same Rams defense twice a year now, playing in the NFC West get him some protection. They've done that with Gray Zabel, who in my opinion really has 5 position flexibility across the offensive line, where he's played a lot of right tackle at North Dakota State, but will be an NFL guard. I think he was one of the best probable 20 or 25 players in the class, and it's a huge position of need here for Seattle. They finally addressed it. I love Nick Eamon-Warrior. I thought he could have gone top 20 because he's not just a good athlete. He's a great athlete, the most athletic safety of all time, actually, in terms of relative athletic score, RAS, at MathBum on Twitter. Shout out Kent Lee Platt, as always. Nick Eamon-Warrior is a ball hawk. He is instinctive. He can run with you down the field in man coverage. He can play in the slot. He's great in the box. I love Eamon-Warrior as a prospect. Really, really excited to see what he can do with Mike McDonald out there in Seattle. I love Elijah Arroyo. To me, he was the 3rd best tight end in the class, and Mason Taylor was close, but I really loved Elijah Arroyo. I thought that he showed so much at the Senior Bowl about how he can win as a route runner. He is explosive as hell. He will run right by you. It's a fun fit in the Seattle offense. They needed a tight end. He's not really a true inline tight end, even though he's got the size. He's a great receiving option, though. And then they got Jalen Milroe. And at this point in the draft, I would be over the moon about it. Because if Jalen Milroe can sit and learn and develop, you might have something special. Because his athleticism is crazy. And he already has a good deep ball. It's just everything else that needs some work. And that is not only processing, it's certainly processing, decision making, accuracy, especially in the short and intermediate areas of the field. But he is the most athletic player on the field whenever he's on the field. He might be playing wide receiver or running back in a couple of years. He is so dynamic with the ball in his hands. You got to find a way to make it happen. So I wonder if they get him on the field early in some capacity, but if you can sit and develop him as a quarterback, you might end up with a special player in a couple of years. So I'm excited to see if Jalen Milroe can become something. It's worth the chance here at the end of the 3rd round. Riley Mills, I'll tell you, Torrey Horton was somebody I like a lot. Riley Mills probably goes higher than this without the injury, but has been super productive when he's been on the field. Torrey Horton was somebody that, going into 2024, you thought he was going to end up going a lot higher than this because 2023 he was awesome, and then gets hurt and doesn't produce, and you're like, damn, I really thought this guy could be something. But he falls to the end of the 5th round, and to get a potential starter long term, that's really good value. I did not know about Robbie Oost's. Well, I mean, I knew about him, but I didn't think anything about him. That's maybe more accurate. I've seen him play and catch the ball at Alabama before, although it's been very rare. Seems like more of an extension of the O-line. They brought in Bryce Cabledew, Damian Martinez. A lot of guys like. He's got good size. He's good after the catch at times, but he's really more of just, I would say, a downhill runner in my opinion. But he's a fun player. Mason Richmond, and then finishes out with Ricky White, which a lot of people liked him as well. I think he's a big-time deep threat and can obviously make an impact on special teams, which is where he's going to end up playing, I would expect. So I thought the Seahawks mostly just crushed this draft. They got big-time players. They took chances where I thought they should. They got good talent down the board. This was just a really, really, really incredible draft for Seattle. Maybe my favorite of any team. Old Reliable B, how I missed you. I like Mykel Williams at 11. I think he's got really good potential. He played hurt in 2024 and still flashed. He does have these things you can't teach. Super long arms, 6'5", 265, 270, and shocking quickness and athleticism at times, right? And I think if he can be healthy, you've got a real difference maker here. I thought he could have gone even earlier than this, but 11 absolutely makes sense. Apparently the Niners even tried to trade up for him, which is interesting. But yeah, I think he's got the potential to be a stud. Got really, really good potential. We'll see if he ends up meeting that. He's a good run defender right away. I think he's flashed as a pass rusher. There's something here. I like Alfred Collins. Hook him. Got better every year at Texas, and he gained a lot of weight over his career at Texas. can be a pass rusher, but he's really just evolved into being a really good run-stopping defensive tackle, which the Niners needed in a huge way. And that, I think, also is noteworthy with CJ West, who is one of the best run stoppers in this class, compared to actually a Texas interior defensive lineman like Alfred Collins, who was kind of short, stout, but super strong, has had a really long NFL career. I mean, most people probably don't know the name Poona Ford, but this is a guy who comes in out of Texas. I'm not even sure if he was drafted. I really don't think he was, and has been in the league for now 8 years. That's a heck of a career. So he's a damn good player. If CJ West is Poona Ford, you've got a good one. Really good against the run. Maybe doesn't offer a ton of pass rush. Nick Martin was somebody that was hurt in 2024. I kind of forgot about him, to be honest. So I didn't watch him in 2024, but was really productive in 2023. And did it seem early? Yeah, I mean, I forgot about him, right? But I see the vision because he was good in 2023. If he bounces back from injury, he's a good athlete. I wonder what you can get. He's not Dre Greenlaw, though, I'll tell you that. Upton Stout, I liked at the end of the third round. Someone I didn't know about until the combine. I watched him. I mean, he was athletic. He's worth a watch. He's undersized, no question, at 5'9", 181. It says it right here as well, but he's going to play the nickel. I already think they kind of have a good nickel. They're paying a lot of money in Diamadou or Lenoir, but he's a good player. Jordan Watkins, I was shocked to see the go this early, but he can run. He looked pretty good in the gauntlet drill at the combine from what I remember. And that's about as much as I can tell you about him, because he just wasn't the focal point at Ole Miss. He wasn't. Made a couple splash plays, sure, but at Ole Miss, that doesn't really impress me all that much given that offense. Jordan James, another really strong running back in a strong running back class. And I was wondering, I'm like, this is weird. The Niners have not taken a running back. I'm shocked their first 5 picks weren't running backs, really. But they finally get one, and they get a good one in Jordan James. And there were always going to be a good running back here because his running back class was so stacked. Marcus Siegel, another guy I liked. Got decent overall size, really good athlete. And I thought good value here in the middle of the 5th. I think Curtis Rourke, I wouldn't say this often, but with the Niners has starter potential. He's got decent overall size. The arm isn't anything crazy, but definitely flashed at Indiana. They finished out with Connor Colby and Junior Bergen. Never watched Junior Bergen. I've never seen him play. That's not true because I watched Montana State, but I don't remember ever seeing him. So, who from running back to wide receiver in 2021? Are they trying to get 7th round compensatory selection Deebo Samuel? Obviously not. We'll see if he makes a team, but I don't know, dude. I can't tell you anything about him. And I try to get to a lot of players. This was a busy year for me. Had to move last minute, and that took me a decent amount of time. And there were a number of factors, but I watch a lot of players still. I can't watch 400. So there are some guys that go under the radar. And there are some guys that nobody knows who end up getting drafted. So it's an interesting thing every year. Bucks. The Bucks had a very good draft. And it's not a B. I left the B up. I think this is an A- draft. I really wanted to see them upgrade their defense, and they really did. They didn't do it with their first pick, but they made moves with their 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I like the draft. Emeka Egbuka is as reliable as they come. He is a good route runner. He is good after the catch. He's got very good hands. He's just a do-it-all. He's a great run blocker. He's an awesome player. Just solid. A guy you'd love to have on your team. Might never be a league-leading receiver. He's not particularly dynamic, but he's smart, tough, dependable. Should have been a Giant. Benjamin Morrison, middle of the 2nd round. This guy would go a lot higher if not for injury. His tape at times is great, especially in 2023. He is a baller. Injury hurts him. Yeah, maybe the short arms hurt him as well, but he's physical. He's instinctive. He's a good football player. They got him here at, nearing the end of the second round. And Jacob Parrish, I like as well. He's probably going to end up playing in the slot, but he's a really good athlete. Another guy that can just play. And I think the Bucs historically are so good at targeting that type of guy, guys that can just flat out play. And David Walker is another one. I did get to him fairly early in the process. Central Arkansas, he's just another one to go. Was he drafted higher than Robert Rochelle, though? Out of Central Arkansas a few years ago. I almost thought he was a third-round pick. Either way, David Walker might be the best of the two. They play different positions, but I like David Walker. He's another guy that is just high effort, a little bit shorter, right? Doesn't have the craziest arm length. It's not the craziest athlete. Like, athletic testing is not wild, but when you actually watch him, like a Josiah Stewart, the guy can just flat out play. Gets a bigger, better jump off the line than you'd expect from his testing. He's a good athlete on the football field. That's what I care about. Elijah Roberts in the 5th, and then Tez Johnson in the 7th. Tez is unbelievably light. He's explosive on the field. He's very hard to cover because he's light and quick. He's got unprecedented NFL size. And I told you I did not expect him to get drafted highly. He does go in the 7th, though. He does get drafted. He's a good story, and he's a good player when it matters on the field. I like the Titans draft. I think they had to take Cam Ward at 1. I didn't think he was a top 10 player or anything in this draft, but he's definitely flashes. He's got some huge splash plays where he looks absolutely special. He does play hero ball too much. He does make some awful decisions. He does hold the ball too long at times, but the special plays are so special that you see the vision with Cam Ward. And I think on a down-to-down basis, he's better than a lot of the alternatives in this class. So I like Cam Ward. The special plays are just so special. He could really end up being a good one for Tennessee. And I like Olu Oladejo in the 2nd round. He's a really good athlete, explosive, and another guy I didn't really get to until about the combine. And he was someone that just really flashed, really stands out, and I think can really be an impact player for this Titans team. He's a great fit for the scheme. Again, good athlete, still developing as a pass rusher, but kind of more of a hybrid guy anyway. So he's definitely a super fun player, and I love Kevin Winston Jr. If without injury, he's going higher than this. And he already goes fairly high. He's got great size. He's a good athlete. And the tape, when healthy, is so good. He missed a lot of 2024, but this is a really, really good player. I think could be a big-time steal and a starter for them. Chimere Dike in the 4th. A player that, watching Florida, I was like, whatever. Then you go back and watch the film, and you're like, okay. DK might have something to him. He's a good route runner. He's definitely super explosive. It's just Florida at times just didn't do a good enough job getting him the ball. But he's a good route runner. This is a good player. And I think has starter potential here in the 4th. I'm a huge Gunnar Helm guy. I thought he was the 5th best tight end in the draft. You can do the math on that based on some of what I've already said. I like Gunnar Helm a lot. Didn't test well because he did it on a sprained ankle. Like, whatever. But he's a fluid mover. He's not the best run blocker of all time, but he's a willing blocker. He can develop into that, but he's just such a smooth mover. He's very similar to Mason Taylor in a lot of ways. I think Taylor's just a little bit more polished, but Helm is a good enough athlete with good hands, good route runner. He's just a solid player, and he continues the Texas tight end legacy for the Tennessee Titans. Texas tight end, Tennessee Titan. It's a lot of T's, and Gunnar Helm could be scoring a lot of TDs for Tennessee. I don't know, something there. He's a good player. As is Elok Iomanner. Elok completely dominated Travis Hunter. That's the storyline when you talk about him. He's got good size. He's a good run blocker. And I think it's good value here at the end of the 4th for a bigger-bodied, strong wide receiver. Jackson Slater's a dog. I'm really excited to see what he can be. Showed up at the Senior Bowl and was really quite good. And that's what put him on the radar for me. He's got good overall size at guard. Could be a starter at some point. We'll see, but I wouldn't necessarily count on it. And they finished out with Marcus Harris and Kalel Mullings, who Wasn't one of the better backs in the draft for me. I didn't think he would get drafted for sure, but goes here in the 6th, and running back by committee, he's got a chance to get, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 carries this year. And we're going to finish that with old trusty reliable B, because I like Josh Connerly at 29. I think eventually you will need to upgrade right tackle, and Josh Connerly is going to do that for you after the addition of Laramie Tunsil. He's a good athlete. The tape's good. He's just overall a solid player, and I think will be a starter at right tackle for the Commanders maybe as early as this year. Trey Amos was maybe the best player they selected. He could have gone in the 1st round. He's got good size, and he tested well, and the tape's really, really good. He's physical. He's instinctive. He's a good player, and they got him at the end of the 2nd round. Jalen Lane at the end of the 4th I thought was good value. He's a good athlete, a little bit undersized, but I think can make an impact for this team. They lose Diami Brown. I think Jalen Lane is a good replacement. Kane Medrano is likely going to be a special teamer. He's got really good size. He's an incredible athlete. I wonder if he develops into being a starter at linebacker. And they finished with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, a name that popped into my head for absolutely no reason about a week ago, and I just Google searched him because I had Jaquiski Tart and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in my head. For some reason, there's a connection with Jaquiski and Ja'Cory Krosky. I don't know. Anyway, that's a nothing analysis for him, but we'll see what happens with him. He may end up making the team, but that is every team in the 2025 NFL draft covered. It's going to be a long video. It always is. I try to provide as much analysis as I possibly can on every team's individual draft. Hopefully it's appreciated, even if you don't love the grade. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.